Hey listeners, Dan Harris here, host of the 10% Happier podcast. Imagine all your audio entertainment available in just one place. That's what the Audible app is all about. With Audible, you can always find the best of what you love or discover something new. Audible has an incredible selection of wellness titles and originals like The Light Podcast by Michelle Obama, Work It Out by Mel Robbins, and Confidence Gap by Russ Harris. Membership includes access to Audible Originals, podcasts, and tons of audiobooks that you can download or stream as much as you want. And as an Audible member, you can choose one title per month from an ever-growing catalog of titles to keep. The Audible app makes it easy to listen anytime, anywhere, whether you're traveling, working out, doing chores, wherever your day takes you. New members can try Audible now free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/Harris or text Harris to 500-500.
The weather is cooling down a bit. The leaves are starting to fall. Yes, it's that time of year again, football season. And we all know the best part of any game day traditions are the ones that involve food. There's nothing like having everyone in your game day crew coming together to bring their best bites and argue over whose family makes the best chili. And while there's no need to mess with the perfection of game day classics, like a freshly grilled Oscar Mayer hot dog topped with Heinz ketchup and mustard, it's always fun to step out of your comfort zone and get creative with your recipes. Because there's nothing more fun than adding to your list of game day traditions, like making a creamy and delectable queso dip with Velveeta cheese that can be eaten with so much more than just chips. Now is the chance for people across the nation to find out whose game day eats reign supreme. It's your turn to show off your tasty game day food traditions. Go to www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to share a photo of your game day food tradition to enter to win $10,000. Once again, that's www.gamedayfoodtraditions.com to enter to win $10,000.
This is Full Change with Tom Laidlaw.
Here we go, laddie.
Oh, we're still on accents.
Yeah, that's my Irish accent, my laddie. We're all Scottish.
I don't know what. Maybe it's Welsh. But we got a great day. We're going to talk about some coaching news in the NHL because it looks like Mike Babcock is no longer an NHL head coach again.
Just the most unaware man on the planet, I think.
Yeah, when you have a reputation like that precedes you and you're already on a last chance, how do you do something as dumb as, I'm sure everybody listening knows that he made the players give up their phone so he could go through their camera roll.
Right, because he wanted to put pictures on the walls in his office. Now he's closer to his team. He knows the family members.
That's horseshit. That's horseshit. That's total horseshit.
Well, you know what it is? This was an explanation. This is what the player said, too, that was the rationale for it. He thinks he's the smartest man in the room, and he's going to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
He's going to reinvent coaching and everything. New strategy. He just doesn't think through. He thinks if he's doing it, I mean, the stuff he did in Toronto with Marner, Franzen in Detroit, like I really believe that he felt like that's what he was supposed to be doing as a coach.
He bullied Franzen into like some PTSD. He had some psychological issues he was dealing with after that. Like, what's the point?
Well, and in Marner's case too, he had him analyze each player on his level of compete level and rank all the players, and then he. So Marner did that. This is the head coach. Marner's a young guy. Then takes it, discloses it to the
team. That's what he thinks of you. Yeah, that's just, well, you said Herb Brooks did that stuff, but maybe Babcock would have worked better in a different era.
I mean, I don't think Herb would berate players like that. I mean, and he also knew which guys could take it. I mean, that's the big thing with Herb. He really understood the personalities. Like with me, the stuff he said to me, like, Laidlaw, if I get the puck, it was something nice. I didn't know at the time, but he felt I was a tough enough guy mentally to handle that.
But he scratched Rogers in the playoffs. He scratched Greshner. He did some.
Dave Maloney scratched. Yeah. Well, you can look at it a couple of ways, right? Either he's brave enough to do something maybe other coaches wouldn't do with veteran players like that, or he's a little bit vindictive too. I don't know.
I mean, look, no offense to Mikko Lehtonen and Larry Patey, but you have Mike Rogers, a 100-point scorer, scratched in a pivotal game for two defensive forwards.
Yeah, it's hard for me because Herb and I got along great, and he treated me fantastic. But I see all the other stuff and other players that he didn't treat so great. But going back to Babcock too, it's just when I was an agent,
for 22 years, right?
22 years, yes. He was coaching in Moose Jaw. And I had a couple brothers that were playing for Moose Jaw. They were high draft picks. Actually, Ryan Smith was the sixth overall pick of the draft, his draft.
Oh, you were Ryan Smith's agent?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had his brother Kevin before that. He was like a fourth round pick of Hartford.
He played in the NHL, right?
Yep, got it for a little bit. I was there. I tried to, go there as an agent, although it's a small farming town, but I have a suit on. I'm representing myself, right, my brand and all that. So on look at. So it's after the game that there's really nothing going on. It wasn't there to talk to Babcock to reprimand him for something he was doing to the coaches or the players or anything. And I walk into his office after the game, tiny little office at the bottom of this old building, and we start talking. And all of a sudden he turns, "Who do you think you are walking in here with that suit on?" And
is he chirping you or is he pissed?
I don't know where it came from. It's like all of a sudden the switch went off and he wanted to say something to get me going. And of course, I can't fight him. Like,
right. You probably could at that time. But...
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking, okay, that's great. My reputation as I'm fighting the coach.
There goes your business.
Yeah. So we didn't do it. And I see the stuff that he's done in the past. And it's like he wants to be this certain kind of guy. Like he wants to be the mad scientist. It's always think like this picture thing that he had going. Like nobody does that. Like that's...
No, it shows you the power of podcasting, hockey podcasting, that Biz was able to call him out. And, after they did the statements and then Boone Jenner came out, and I think Johnny Gaudreau came out, right? And those are the leaders, and they said, it's okay, it's fine. But the young guys were like, no, that's not okay.
And again, you're right, with Boone Jenner and Gaudreau, I mean, that at that time, that's their coach. If they're going out saying things against him, he's still coaching.
Exactly.
They have to say what they said.
But quietly, the guys are texting Biz and saying, look, this guy's...
It's just weird. Like just the whole idea that you think that's really a good idea. Take the pictures of the guys' phones, family members' pictures. Like, how do you know what other pictures are in there that they don't watch?
Really bad judgment.
Yeah, it's just that again, he just probably the most unaware man on the planet. He just doesn't get what his reputation is. And again, we talked about this before the show. The reputation that he built with the other incidents like Martyr and many more, and Franzen and all these guys. He is a target. So like you should have known. Yeah. And I feel bad. John Davidson is a great friend and former teammate. He's the president of Darren Columbus. And I'm sure when they hired him, I was kind of like at first a little shocked that they had hired him. But then we had Hitchcock on a show and they're good friends. I mean,
Hitch said he thinks he's really reformed. He's going to make a great coach. He's changed his outlook. And maybe he didn't.
Well, you know what though? I do think he made an attempt to change. Like his attempt to go from a guy that was berating players, doing the stuff he did to Franz and Martyr, to now switch and go, I'm going to be this family guy now. I'm going to be close to the families of the team.
Do you think that's what it really was?
Well, I think that was a planned thing. I don't think in his heart he really wanted to do that. I think he's saying to himself, okay, I need to show people that I've changed. And here's how I'm going to show this.
So why wouldn't you say, send me a best picture of you and your family? We'll put it on up in the office.
He's just unaware, yeah.
Not let me go through your phone. I don't think he was oblivious. I think there was intent in there for sure.
Well, so okay, you can imagine the conversation he's having with the players now, right? In his mind, he's thinking, they're going to seek to get this new softer guy now because I'm going.
I don't think so. I think they're saying, "What do you go look if?"
But in his mind, he's thinking
then he's not a very smart person because I have teenage daughters. If I grab their phone, it's like I violated their civil rights. They're like the phones that we pay for. They're like, "Don't you dare look at my phone!" So
he's a grown man.
22, 23-year-olds. They're young guys. They're. I don't understand how you think that's a good move on any level.
That's the thing. Babcock, he was thinking it was a good thing. Obviously, I'm with you 100%. Well, like he had, I saw him interview with him one time, and he was doing this when he was in Detroit. He said that I don't know when it started. I think it was when he started coaching pro. He would keep a log of every practice drill, and he was so proud of it. He had to show the cameraman and everything that I've got.
Right.
I think in his mind, he wants to separate himself from everybody else, thinking he's this brilliant guy.
And he won a Stanley Cup with the Red Wings, who were stacked.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
And listen, I was never really sold that he was that good of a coach. Kenny Holland, the general manager, that hopefully we're going to have him on the show. I think he's the one that was responsible for it. He brought those players in.
Put that team together.
Yeah, sure. And the Illich families that owned the team, they had that reputation that people wanted to go play for him. And I told you the story about Dallas Drake, who I represented. He never fired me either.
Well, that's a rare one.
And he was in St. Louis, had been the captain. They bought him out at the end of his contract. And he said to me, I'll careful with my language here, but he said to me, and he used different words, but he said, get me to Detroit and don't F it up. And because that was the reputation. He wanted to have one more year in Detroit.
And did you?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
It's funny because the minimum salary, I think at that time was like $500,000. So Kenny Hall, the general manager, Jim Neal was the assistant general manager. He's in Detroit now. So Kenny says, we're giving you $500. That's it. Just get the minimum. So I said to Jim, I said, give me just $550 so I can pay for my fee.
Yeah. Right.
It looks like I'm doing nothing. And I called Kenny up and I said, I got Jim to do $550. He just started laughing.
And you knew Kenny from college, right?
No. Kenny, I had just started in the agent business and I'd moved to Detroit. I think he just retired. He was a goaltender in the organization and was scouting at the time. And so I knew him. They drafted Dallas Drake already. And I think Ken played a big role in that. They had Joe Frederick, another player from Michigan, that I had as a client. So I really got to know Kenny well, living in the area, going for lunch together and everything.
Yeah, well, most people we've had on the show have nothing but good things to say about the Illiches and, of course, Ken Holland. Everybody loves him. Don Murdoch talked about how he works for him as a scout with Everton, and everybody's had good things to say about him.
Just a funny guy. Like, he's done so well and is making a ton of money there. Like, really, I think he was thinking to retire when Steve Eisenman came from Tampa, took his job basically. But he knew it was over anyways. But then I think Everton came off with so much money.
No, good for him. That's great. And good guys do really well. But I think we've spoken about this before. But that old school coaching model is done, right? It doesn't work anymore.
I don't think it ever worked. People say, well, geez, those coaches won, like Mike Keenan won cups, but he was still a good coach, and he had
one cup.
One cup.
Yes.
And that's the thing. The other stuff they were doing was just totally unnecessary. To call Mitch Marner in and do what he did, Babcock there, it didn't help the team win at all. Yeah. People say, well, geez, they went well. Again, I remember times seeing interviews where Babcock, they wouldn't have a good penalty kill. And Babcock would say, well, I just don't know how to fix a penalty kill.
That's your job, guys.
I'm thinking penalty kill isn't that big of a thing. It's a work ethic. It's four people working together. So when I hear him say he didn't know how to fix it, I was like, really?
You're the coach. It's your job. But we had Hitch on, who was kind of in that mold, and he said he had a lot of regret, saying, I wish I would thank my players for their sacrifice. I would
just show them. I think he used the term appreciate them.
Yes.
And that was it. Now I'm hoping he was saying that because he really felt that.
I think he definitely did.
I got the sense he did too. Yeah. But I guess, he even touched on it too. He admitted that you get wrapped up as a coach in the winning all the time. Right? That's your job. You get paid to win. So you think you're doing all these things that you have to do to win, and you're not stepping back and seeing the bigger picture, right? And think you mentioned Herb Brooks. I think back. I do think he really stepped back and appreciated that. He wanted to win. Although he did criticize his father. I told you the story. His father had passed away. He left the team for a couple of days and came back. And I never forget, we were in St. Louis having a pregame meeting in the morning. He started talking about how he's in the church, and there's a stained glass window with all the pieces, all the different.
Yeah, the light coming through in colors.
And how it all came together to make one big window. And he thought of us now as
there you go.
So some of the guys are thinking, wow, that's really great. He's really dedicated.
That is.
Other people are saying, you're at your father's funeral.
Like, why are you thinking about hockey? Oh, that's a really good point. Jesus, I glossed right over that.
Yeah, I know. And so it's like Craig Patrick. We'll get him on the show too. Craig was such an emotional guy. When he was the general manager here with the Rangers, as things weren't going well, he would come into meetings sometimes and he'd start crying. Yeah. Because he cared about the team so much. Now, some people, they get two different views. Some people would say, wow, he really cares about the team a lot. Others would go, grow up.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely two ways to look at that. But also Craig Patrick would bring in like yoga instructors and stretching. He was ahead of his time with that stuff, with that whole mindfulness.
Yeah, he was. And we thought, of course, we as mudhead hockey players thought he was just crazy too. Right. He brought in. Did I ever tell you?
Yes, you told the story. You don't have to tell. Yeah, we heard the story. But the guy, the University of France guy. Yeah, we know about. Yes, we heard that story.
That was one of the funniest things. Oh man,
we'll wrap up because Keenan, you played against him, and you said he was soft. Oh, as a player,
he tried out for the Canadian Olympic team when I was trying out for it.
Yep.
And I don't even remember him. Like, he just didn't.
Right.
Just a guy. You'd see him. Like, he was looking for jobs. Like, we would walk. Let's say when he was coaching, especially with the Flyers. If we walked down the hallway together, he wouldn't even.
They wouldn't look at you. Wouldn't acknowledge you because he's too good.
But now he's looking for a job and he wants to go to Atlanta. And Don Waddell, my old teamate, is the coach or general manager time. So now Keenan's calling me, wanting him to put a good.
Hey, buddy, can you help me out?
Exactly.
Couldn't give you the time of day. Well, today we're going to have on a coach who was a tough guy, but he has a different approach. He doesn't have that old school approach. He's current coach of the Cincinnati Cyclones, Jason Payne. This is a tough player in minors who fought everybody, and now he's behind the helm of the Cyclones.
And just a great story, real motivating, great speaker.
Yeah, people are going to love to hear this one.
All right, laddies.
Good morning, Tom. Excited today. We have a bad man on the show as a player, and now we have the current coach of the Cincinnati Cyclones. We have Toronto's own Jason Payne.
Jason Payne, Tom Laidlaw here. Good to meet you. Finally, I've heard a lot of bad stories about you. Tough dude.
I try to do what I can do when I can do it.
Yeah, good. And again, you grew up in Toronto, right?
Yes, that's correct. Downtown Toronto, around St. Clair Bathurst area, and then I eventually moved up to North York as I got older.
Is your family still back there now?
Yeah, my mother's still back there, yeah.
Oh, very cool.
My father, everyone's back there, but...
Right. So people don't know, I'm from Brampton, so Brampton's just right outside of Toronto, so just coming to Toronto all the time. Go to, let's say, the Expo or whatever, is this Toronto Expo or the
Exhibition.
Exhibition, that's right, yes. Yeah. Great spot. Do you remember they used to have the corned beef sandwiches? I could smell good in there. That's my history of the cane.
One thing, Tom's a hick. Tom's a huge hick. He grew up without a bathroom, so he's not really from Toronto.
Well, it was on a farm, so we had a bathroom. It was a toilet seat and a bucket underneath, so we take the bucket out, dump it outside. So yeah, Tom gets a kick out of that. Yeah.
He's a city folk.
All right, so Jason, you grew up. We were a pretty good young hockey player when you started right off the bat.
You know what? I started off as a goalie, and I was a goalie for most of my life. And then, funny story is, my dad one day told me, he's like, you know what? I think you should be a player because there's a better chance to make it as a player. And I was like, okay. Really, he did that because he didn't want to pay for the equipment.
Yeah, no kidding.
So
Move.
So I was like, okay. So my first year as a player, I went to camp, a hockey camp at Seneca College.
Okay.
I remember I borrowed my friend's equipment and I went out and, I liked it. It was fun. And then that year I went to try out for a couple teams, got cut from every one of them.
Oh.
So at the start of that year, I didn't even play. I was just like playing shinny hockey or going from rink to rink and just, bouncing around until around Christmas time, I went out and was playing shinny hockey again. And a single A team was skating, practicing right after it. And they saw me and they asked me, am I playing hockey anywhere? I'm like, nope. And they goes, oh, okay. You want to come practice with us? I'm like, sure. We'll practice with them. And after that, they asked me again. They're like, you're not playing anywhere? I'm like, nope. It goes, do you want to play? I go, yeah. You go, do you want to play for us? I'm like, yeah. So that was my first, taste that added what they were called the Toronto Devils, the single A team. And they played at Scarborough Gardens. And as funny as it is that they were such a great team, just a bunch of kids that were just out there to work their butts off. And some came from underprivileged areas, like a lot of them came from Regent Park. It was wild. And we won the championship that year, and we won the cities that year as well too. So, but from there, the hunger was just always in me. I just wanted to go play higher. A lot of my friends played higher, especially like one of my best friends, Kevin Weeks. He played AAA for for all of his life. Right. And me seeing him and some of the other kids that I used to go to school with, they were all playing AAA for, like, obviously him with the Red Wings. And another friend was playing for the Nats. Another friend was playing for Wexford Raiders. Another friend was playing for at that time the North York Civics, which turned into the Canadians. But I just wanted to play. So I wanted to get up there and make that jump. So, this story could go on forever. The amount of the trial that I went to and got cut from, and I ended up playing for another team the following year, a single A team, Goulding Park. But I was actually able to practice with the Hillcrest Summits with Coach Greg Aletto. It's funny, Hillcrest was just down the street from where I lived, and down the street from where both Ian and I lived, actually. And he allowed me to come up and practice for this team, which was I was very fortunate enough because I wasn't playing for them, but I was allowed to practice with them. So that gave me the ability to try to get better at my craft and learn and skate with guys at a higher level than me. And the following year, I made the team.
Wow. And how old were you when you made the switch from just being shinny hockey to going on
13.
a team? 13. Wow. See, I think that's a great lesson for a lot of kids out there, right? Because now there's so much pressure on the kids and the parents. They think, okay, I want to get him a scholarship. I want to get him to the NHL. So they're like, at 6 years old, he's got to be at a certain level. 8 years old, he's got to be at another level. That's a great example of you played pro hockey and you didn't really start playing organized hockey until you're 13 years old. So I hope that other kids see that and just don't give up on the dream, right?
Yeah, like all kids, like I learned to skate when I was like 4 years old. My mother took me to learn to skate down at St. Mike's Arena, and
St. Mike's.
Everyone does it, but again, everyone's paths are different. I always tell everybody, everyone has a path. There's a route to where you're going to go in hockey, and no one's is the same. If people were to think of the route I took, it's unorthodox, and there's no way that any chance in hell that I should have been able to get where I did going that route.
Right.
And, when people tell me, I said I want to go to AAA or AA, they tell me, no, I can't go AA. I made the AA team. When I told them I want to go AAA, the same guy, some people are still telling me the same thing. I can't play AAA. You can't skate at that level. Well, the same thing happened. Halfway through the year, I ended up playing for Wexford Raiders. And then the year after that, I ended up playing with the Mississauga Senators. And it just goes on from there. My first OHL camp was Owen Sound Platers. I went there with Kevin Weeks.
Were you drafted by Owen Sound?
No, I wasn't drafted at all.
Wow.
I wasn't drafted at all. So I went in there and listen, the scoring wasn't my forte, man. I had to go in there and I had to beat the wheels off of people. That's all I could do.
Oh, So you knew that already at that age. So when you first go to Owen Sound, what are you, 16, 15 years old, 16?
60, just
16. Right.
Mhm.
Right. Owen Sound's a little bit different than Toronto. So people don't know, Owen Sound's a tiny little town. You know, Toronto's like a big city, obviously, right? So
Yeah. So it was a definite eye opener.
So we talked about this before the show. Any racism? Did you have to face racism when you were coming up as a kid?
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, it's nothing. To me, it was nothing new. I mean, one encounter I do remember was I was playing single A hockey. We're playing a tournament, and we're beating this team. And I guess at that level, I guess I got better at it. I got better at my game. So a kid had called me the N-word. Well, I didn't hear it, but my whole team did.
Oh,
and they're like, "Oh my god, he called you that." I'm like, "Okay, I didn't hear it, but okay, it's weird. Why would he call me that? Like, is he crazy?" And so
at this point now, you're a tough guy still, right? Like you're learning to fight.
This is the infancy of my tough guy stages, I guess, if you want to put it that way. Right. So, it was funny because the game was over and they pointed the kid out to me, and I wanted to confront him and ask him. And it's so weird the way we got. It's almost like it was meant to happen. Like we got off the ice on this side, they got off the ice on this side, but their dressing room was over there, ours was over there.
Oh,
so we looked across each other in the hallway. Yeah, I was like, it just, it never happened.
Yeah, you're looking for trouble right then. Yeah,
right. So it did, and then there he is. They pointed him out. So I kind of pushed him into where the doorway was, and I cornered him, and I'm going, "What did you call me?" And he kind of stared at me. I said, "What did you call me?" And I was just kind of looking at him with a blank stare. And then my brother came to this game, which is one of the games that he came to, and he was literally standing in the stands above, and he was looking down, and all I could hear him was like, "Kill him!"
Oh, he said, "Kill him." There's one that's crazy to go, right? He can either say, "Don't do it," or "Kill."
Yeah. So and I just started teeing off on him. So that's where that started. They broke it up and stuff, but that's where that started. And I mean, I went to Buffalo for a tournament one time, and my mother was in the stands, and she was like losing it because someone said because I guess I was at that time I'm one of the more dominant players at our level, and even though it was a lower level, but still, right? And I guess somebody said something, and my mother snapped in the stands and was going to go after them, and like I was like, "Oof, it's gonna get ugly."
Yeah, mother's sticking up for the sons, right? I mean,
Can mom throw too?
Oh yeah, she's not shy.
It's kind of, I don't mean it's not towards you, but it's really kind of disappointing. Don't ask you the question. It was just like, oh yeah, I just didn't realize, maybe this is my own naive mind. I didn't believe it was that much. Like growing up in Canada, for me, we grew up on a farm. The prejudice wasn't, maybe I forgot. I just don't ever think in that way. There was other black kids in our school. We didn't treat them any differently or call them any names. It was just kind of like, there's people. So
yeah, I see it too. I mean, I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of white friends. I have a lot of friends everywhere, and I made them because of the person who I am. I don't let that ignorant stuff get to me. And as a young individual, it's tough because a lot of kids today, they don't know how to handle it. Yeah. They watch social media and they watch this, and they think, "Oh, I'm gonna handle it this way, and I'm gonna deal with it this way. No one's gonna talk to me like this." And it's unfortunately a lot of things that we have in society, feed into that. Yeah, we hear these kids when I was coaching minor hockey, and the kids are coming in playing all this music with, the N-word in it, left, right, and center, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I said, one day I pulled them all aside and I stopped the music. I said, "Let me ask you guys a question." I said, "I'm going to take you downtown, Flemington Park, Regent Park, one of the places, anyone. And I would drop you right in the hood, right by where all my boys used to hang out and everything, right down there. I want you to start talking to them like that. Would you?" Well,
see, that's great for you, right? Because it's an education. It's an education for us too, right? When we've never lived in your shoes, so we need to learn these things. I was talking. I remember Reggie Leach used to play for the Philadelphia Flyers, so he's native. And I was talking to him, and I really didn't mean to be insulting. I used the word Indian, and he was very good. He stopped me. He says, "Tom, I can't remember the terms you used exactly, but that's not the way we appreciate getting talked to. I'm a native." And it was a great education for me. I respected it so much more. Just like you educating your teammates, that it's just that we're just plain stupid sometimes and just not aware.
Well, that's what it is. It's just hard to. you have to have those uncomfortable conversations, the difficult conversations. And sometimes it's imperative, right? But it's how you go about it too. You know, like how he did it with you and how I did it with the kids.
Yep.
You know, there's other people that come at you and they come aggressive and they come, you know, it's just, the message doesn't get come across. So.
Yeah, it shouldn't have to be your responsibility, but you're smart enough to understand that just, like I said, we're just stupid sometimes. We just don't realize what we're saying, how it could be hurtful. All right, so you went up to Owen Sound. Is that where you played your junior hockey?
No, I got cut from that team.
Oh, okay.
Scored a goal and had a fight in camp, and they cut me. I was the first score in the first cuts. So I went back to play AAA hockey again, and then after that, I went on to move to Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds camp the following year.
Okay.
Got cut from there.
I was going to ask.
Got cut from there. Yeah, I told you it's going to be a long one. Got cut from there.
Okay.
That year, I also played football. I played football in the previous 2 years too. The year before that for my high school. And the year before that, I was a Toronto All-Star. So I was on the All-Star team for the football. And it was great playing the All-Star game and everything. But obviously, hockey was my love. So went to Sault Ste. Marie, same thing. Got cut from there. Came back. Played a little junior with St. Mike's. Then after that, I went and played a little bit of football. Bounced around. I went to training camps here, training camps there. Ended up, to speed the story up, I went to training camps out in the WHL in Tri-City Americans, Seattle Thunderbirds. I even ended up in the Quebec League with the St. Hyacinthe Lasers. I tried out there. Hockey took me everywhere. And how I finally got my break in the OHL is I got back from Seattle after I got released, and I played for a team in Toronto called Royal York. So I played about 10 or 11 games with Royal York, had about 100 penalty minutes, about almost a point a game. And my buddy called me, this Roy Gray. He was playing with the London Knights, and he's like, "Hey man, we need a tough guy to help out our guy up here." And he goes, "Can you get out here?" I'm like, "Sure." I hopped on a Greyhound bus and I flew out to London.
Wow.
My mother didn't drive, right? So everywhere I went was on the bus.
Oh, wow. So all your youth hockey, you were taking the bus?
I'd taken a bus, or I had to hop rides from people on the team. And like I said, the odd time my dad would come and take me, but that was rare, right? So,
Jason, this whole time, sorry to interrupt you, this whole time though, are you dreaming about playing in the National Hockey League?
oh yeah, I'm dreaming about. I want to play. Oh yeah, I want to play. That's all my focus is right now. I want to play.
See, I love that story though, where, and I'm not loving it, let it happen to you, but the way you kept going, right? Going to all those tryouts. A lot of kids that go to a tryout, maybe not, get cut from the team. That's it. They're done with it. Yeah. So you keep going.
So you are speaking Tom's language right now, because he loves just putting his head down and just not taking no. He won't take no for an answer. So you're speaking the language.
Oh, I know. I look back at the things I've done in my life, and Cynthia, for you, obviously, you don't overthink it, right? He said, "No, I want to play in the NHL," and I did so many. I've told Tom stories. I've done so many stupid things in my life leading up to getting to the NHL, and I never really thought to myself, "Okay, this is it." It's I ruined it. I just, like you were doing. You just put your head down and keep going, jump on the bus, and I jumped on the track. I had to jump on the tractor to get there, but you got to London.
Got to London. First game there, I knocked a guy out, and the fans loved me already. And the arena was called Ice House, and then they called it the Ice House of Payne. And
Nice.
I thought things were going great there, and the Islanders were taking interest in me. Boston took interest in me. My billet, who I lived with at the time, really put a monkey wrench in my plan. And what happened was Tuesday night, they called it movie night, is when all the players would go out, because it was like supposed to be cheap movie night, but really the players would go to the bar and they would go and drink and stuff. Well, the funny thing is, I don't drink, and especially then, I only touched alcohol when I was 23 years old, so I never drank. And all my friends knew that I never drank, right? So if I went out with the players, I was just going out looking after some of the kids, looking after some of the guys and make sure everybody was okay. But majority of the time, my biller would say that, tell him I call the coach and say I was out partying all night. I'm like, what do you mean? You mean I was out partying all night? I don't drink. I don't party all night. I got home. So they gave me a warning. I'm like, all right. So from then I never went out. Right. So the one night, but now because I went halfway through the year, I had to transfer schools. So I had to catch up on schoolwork. So I ended up staying up one night doing a project. And I remember it, when things just stick in your mind? Yeah. It's Frankenstein. Stayed up all night and I was doing a Frankenstein essay or report. I had to do the handing. to catch up to where the class was. Right. I was down in the living room doing it, all done. All of a sudden, I wake up in the morning, go to school, show up to practice, my stall's cleared. I'm like, what's going on? Branks, the trainer, goes, coach wants to see you. So I go in there, and coach tells me, yeah, you're done. I go, what do you mean? He goes, your biller called me, said you were out all night, and then you got in late this morning and did it.
Wow. That's so awkward, right? You're living in that house, and that person does that's oof.
Yeah.
Why? What happened? What caused that? You ever find out?
I think the mother had some. You know what? To be honest with you, I think there was some racial tendency in there.
Yeah.
The father had MS. They had a daughter and a son who I treated like brother and sister, but the mother was the one who she wore the pants in the family, and I don't know. She just didn't like what was going on, or I have no idea. I have no idea.
So like she didn't want a black kid in her house, basically.
That's it.
Like it comes down
Pretty
to.
much.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Who's the coach at that? Who's the coach in that?
Mike Fedorko, his name was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then the assistant coach took me in his car. We drove to my house. I packed up all my stuff. I didn't even say anything to them. They don't even packed up all my stuff, and then they took me to the Greyhound bus terminal in London and put me on the bus, and then I rode the bus all the way home.
Jesus. That is so nasty for that woman to do that, right? Because, kids all over the place, but kids in Canada, there's a dream of playing in National Hockey League. So you're major, junior, the next level up is some level of pro. So to get there after all you went through, and then for her to do that, that's oof.
Yep. So,
but you kept going.
Kept going. Following year, actually, when I started playing pro in Utica, New York, and it's Colonial League, which is just an absolute meat stick league.
So are you 19 at this point? 19, 20?
I just turned 20.
Just turned 20. So 20 years old, you go from really not playing a whole lot of junior hockey, because that's the usual progression, right? You get your feet wet in junior hockey, you're comfortable there, now you go to the pros. And to be a tough guy, too, at 20 years old, because these are men.
I was fighting guys who were 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Like, it was I was at a, but whatever. What do I know? I'm just going to go and do what I got to do. So I played in that league. I played for Utica till about Christmas time, and then I left and then went back to the OHL to play in Barrie. So I went back to the OHL. So I went to play for a coach named Bert Templeton.
Oh, Bert loves tough guys too.
He does, but he's very old school as they come.
Yeah.
Very old school, right? So I went in there, they played, started fighting, did my thing, but nobody wanted to fight me. Right? Not many people wanted to fight me. So it was such a weird app, because we played a game in Peterborough one game, and I remember this guy he lined up against me in Peterborough, and he asked me, want to go? I said, all right, fine. And he goes, we dropped the gloves, and I go, you want to take your buckets off? And he's like, no. So he pulls his bucket right down to his face. I'm like, okay.
No, were you shields at this time?
Yeah, half buckets.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said, okay. So I just cocked back and started teeing off on him, and just broke his nose, his blood all over his visor. Down he went. He was leaking all over the ground. I remember taking my helmet off, and I looked at his bench at their bench, and I gave him one of those ones.
Oh, did you? Oh.
So I skated off the ice, and then there's a pool of blood where he skated off the ice. Get back on the bus that day, and I forget where we're heading to, somewhere, but all of a sudden Bert's sitting in the back of the bus, because that's where he sat. The back of the
see, that's rare, right? Yeah,
it is, because usually coach sit in the front. He sat at the back, in the back pit, with his table and his beer. And the assistant coach sat over, they did this side of him. And he's like, oh, hey, it's about time you showed up, or something. I'm like, excuse me? What the wall? Yeah. I said, oh my God. And I was an overager, right? So, and how that tragedy came to an end. One day I show up for practice. Bert's not even there. All of a sudden the assistant coach comes up and he goes, yeah, Bert's sending you home. What do you mean? There's fucking 10 games left in the season. What do you mean you're sending me home? He goes, I don't know, he's sending you home. I go, get the fuck out of here. I go, where's Bert? He just left. I fucking ran out of the arena to go look for him. And there he was, getting in his car. I could see him in his car. And I was running down the parking lot, yelling his name, jumped in his car, and he sped off.
So Bert definitely goes way back. When I was playing junior B hockey, like 1975 or 76, he was coaching the Hamilton Fincals. Yeah, he had a tough team. And we got to the All-Ontario Junior B finals. I was playing for the Granby Blues, and they had a huge brawl, and they actually threatened to bomb our bus. Jeez. So we had to pull out of the final series, and they won. And then there was a big investigation into violence in hockey because of that series. So that's how Templeton goes way back to that point. So, but him to leave, like, he's scared of you. So you're going to beat the crap out of him.
So so that happened there, and then and again, did that stop me? No, because then the following year I went back to the Colonial League and I went to play for Flint. I went to play for Robbie Nichols, who was in my eyes, Robbie was the Jackie Moon of the GM, the entertainer, you name it. He had everything going, and it was fitting that it was in Flint too. So I played for him that year, and I learned a lot about hockey that year, the business side, a lot of everything too. So I think I had about 220 something penalty minutes that year, but I was also called up a lot to IHL teams.
Okay,
so I bounced for IHL and AHL teams, I should say. So that's where a lot of the you get refueled again. You start getting feeling those higher levels that are close to the NHL, and now you're like, oh yeah. Start fighting, tough guys again, like big guys that are, going to the NHL. Some notably guys that are in the NHL. And as the career went on, I mean, I played in the American League. I played in the East Coast League for a bunch of different teams, and and I almost 14 years of that. Right. Was where it took me till I finally retired, 2009-10. Wow.
Did you ever total up your penalty minutes in your fights?
I don't know how many fights, but penalty minutes, I think altogether just shy of 3,000, I guess.
It's always interesting too, when you're playing, you don't think about this, but I always ask the guys now that were tougher players or fighters, like, did you enjoy fighting?
I did. I mean, early, I didn't, especially in the beginning part, I just loved it. It was just what I just did. I remember sometimes getting around this time, or even like this late August, my friends would look at me and go, "Look, what's wrong with you?" He goes, "I don't know. I just want to feel someone's face on my fist." Yeah, it was wild.
What were some of the memorable scraps you had? You got any come to mind?
Ooh, jeez. I fought Dennis Bonvie. I fought Jody Shelley.
Boys,
Mel Angelstad, who was an absolute killer in the league around hockey for a long time. And I fought numerous times. Darren Kimball, who was an ex-NHL heavyweight.
Yeah.
Rob Ragland, who was another one. I mean, there's so many. Just names that just pop up in your head from time to time. And eventually during the lockout year, I ended up going to during the lockout year, I got bumped down and I ended up going to play in that Quebec League, which was a fighting.
Wow,
all fighting.
That's more of a men's league, right? It's like a beer league.
Yeah, it's like yeah. But during the lockout, like I played in LaSalle, which was Verdun, excuse me, which was in just outside of Montreal there in that suburb, and then they traded me up to Quebec City. So I ended up playing for Quebec City. And on our team there, we had Donald Brashear, a whole bunch of guys on our team there. So, and we would average, like, I don't know, depending on what arena, anywhere from 6,000 to 9,000 fans a game.
Wow.
And I tell you right now, you're guaranteed your fights. Like the first 30 seconds take about 20 minutes to play because there's about at least four fights, one after another.
Now, as time goes on, though, you're not getting tired of the fighting. You're still embracing it. That's your job, so you're just doing it.
I'm embracing it for sure, but it takes it to wear and tear on the body. It takes its toll, right? So, in that Quebec League, I really learned how they don't really respect it properly. Because I thought to myself, like, well, I'm down here fighting. I hurt my shoulder, and they're acting like, "Oh, well, we're not going to pay you because your shoulder hurt." I'm like, "Excuse me." It really brought an eye opener to the whole thing, and you got to the point where, okay, well, now I fought enough. I'm going to fight for when I think I need to, you know what I mean? I was also a lot older now too, right? So you earn that respect around. So, but when you're younger, somebody breathing you the wrong way, you grab them. So,
especially when you've got the reputation too, right?
Right.
Like, guys, I really admire that too, because to do it throughout your career, like Marty McSorley, I thought was, I just really admired him. When he first started, he could not play. He was awful, but he knew if he was going to stay in the NHL, he would have to fight every night. I made the mistake of fighting one night. And every time we played after that, he'd go, "Laidlaw, let's go," because he knew I would fight him. He needed somebody to fight with. I finally turned over and I said, "Listen, I'm not keeping you in the league anymore." But you know what? He worked and made himself a better player. I finally ended up playing with him in LA. And even when he made himself a better player, he was on power play, penalty count. He kept fighting too. Like, he didn't stop fighting. I really admired it, because a lot of times if a guy says, "Then I don't have to fight anymore. Now I'm a regular player." So
right. Yeah, he established himself a nice career.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you're protecting the great one. I mean,
yep.
You do that, you do your job well, you're gonna have a job for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But again, they made himself a player too. So 14 years pro hockey. Why retired at that point?
It got to a point where it's like it was just winding down. You just knew. It's like, no one really wants to fight anymore. I'm not gonna fight these. I'm at that time I'm a 32.
Right.
32-ish around that area. And then you got kids 32, 33, and you got kids out there who are, just coming into league at 21, and and then the game also it got a lot faster too. I mean, I could keep up with everybody, but it got faster to a point where are you going to be viewed as a person who's going to be in the lineup and being utilized a lot now, or are you going to fall off to the wayside? Which, again, at that point in time, you could see the tough guys, the demise of the tough guy in the sport, right? So I figured, you know what, I'm going to go out on my terms and not let the game push me out.
Cool. And did you know you're going to get into coaching right away?
You know what? I wanted to get into coaching. I didn't know right away. I was teaching kids. I was developing kids, doing skills and stuff. And when I got back to Toronto, I actually worked loss prevention at the Bay. So I was doing like security, where it's like, I was catching people shoplifting or whatever, and it was associates and public, right? So
and knocking them out.
Oh, it was great time. Like one of my best buddies, Blake, and I was working with him, and he used to call us Miami Vice, crocking us up. So we'd go out there and just catch guys, and I used to enjoy it because it just kept me challenged, right? To just see and to find people, find someone to try to pull a fast one, and just and sneak around there, because we weren't in uniform, we were just playing close.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah. So then all of a sudden, they do it, we catch them, we know the ins and outs of the building. And then we go outside and we just kind of wait, and they start walking away. We start walking away slowly behind them, and before they know it, then we just grab them before they go anywhere. It's like,
How big are you?
6'1", right now, 6'1", about 240.
Right. And you kept yourself in pretty good shape. You're jacked.
Yeah, I tried. I mean, I haven't been in the gym in a good 3 months right now. Which as soon as the season starts, I'm gonna get back and start, as I like to say to my friends, like, murder the gym, because that's what holds my body together. Like, after all those years, if you stop at the muscles of holding all that part together, and now everything that should have hurt is hurting.
Isn't that true? So you retired at 32. You go to work at the Bay. How many years did you do that?
Just about a year. And then I got into coaching with my buddy of mine who his parents used to drive me to hockey when I was younger, and he was coaching the one team that he was playing for at my last year. But I went to coach with him as assistant coach with the Toronto Junior Canadians junior team. And with that, I was doing there, and I was also assistant coaching the AAA team as well too. So now I was like coaching two teams. So I was like, I found that there's the passion is back again. I'm like, you know what? So I quit the Bay, said I'm out of here. And I went back and I started doing that. And my cousin was like, you're doing all this, I think you should do your own hockey school as well too. And I'm like, yeah, I should. And he kept pushing me to do it, because I was also, again, through the years, like you talk about Marty getting better at his craft, honing his craft. That's what I did. Like every summer, like I'd leave home and I'd go to Boston and train with Paul Vincent.
Yeah, I know Paul.
Yeah. So, because I met, and it's funny how I met Paul Vincent is I met him through his son, Paul Vincent Jr. Right. When I went out to the Western Hockey League in Seattle, Paul played for Seattle. Right. So that's where we had first met, and we've been friends ever since, and I ended up coming down and spending summers with him there too. Right. So I opened up my own hockey school, was Payne precision skating, and everything I learned, I through him and through Graham Townsend, who, again, that's what I started doing stuff with when I got back to Toronto. I pushed into that and had my own stuff going. So coaching the minor hockey and coaching junior hockey, I already had a hotbed of contacts that I just started funneling those kids through, and then it just kept going from that point on. And then I was coaching AAA and Junior A through the whole, how many years I was down there from I guess 2011, I guess, all the way up till I left in 2018.
What's the goal in coaching? You're coaching NHL?
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to coach as high as I can get. The NHL is the level I'd like to get to. But I always find that when you over-focus on everything ahead of you, you don't focus on what's in front of you. Yeah, totally. Right. And I want to be the best of where I am, because when you're the best of where you are, that's when the opportunity comes and you're prepared for the next level.
Do you tell the kids you're coaching your life story?
Oh, I share with them. I share with them. I share with the kids. I share with. That's what you want to do. It's my way of connecting with these players. And here's my daughter.
What's going on back there? What's her name?
Malia.
Hi, Malia. She just poked her head up there.
You just had another baby, right, Jason?
Yes, I did. Mila. She's 2 weeks old now. Since last Saturday. So yeah.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, that's why I'm awake still. So
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, what does eat mean?
that's Ian's. That's Ian's. We used to watch a TV show called Wayne's Brothers, and the father and stuff, when they would do little things they do with, they'd see girls or do whatever, they'd say other like eat the tea, or when you when guys get excited and they see a girl and they eat themselves, like they those are typical.
So funny. So our mutual friend of all of us, Ian Peters, is grew up with Jason. So he gave me a few stories, but we can't use them on the air. But that's what we get.
So do you do any motivational speaking?
You know what? Every day of my life is that.
Okay.
That's what I thought. You know, and it's funny because I did a presentation for the NHL Coaches Association on developing a player for pro hockey, and it was about everything we're talking about now, and how, again, you talked about, hockey gives you every opportunity you want to quit. It does, no doubt about it. And it's the only elite group that can push on past it because they're already gifted at it. The others, everyone has to fight through it. Everyone has to fight through it. And you get cut from a team, you get sent home, you get this. Like those are all signs that tell you give up. Just give up. But it's also testing you to see if you're strong enough to really want to do this.
Sure. And I think after a while for you, you're obviously living that life. It's the more you fight through it, that just becomes who you are, right? There's no second thought. Once you get cut from the next team, you say, okay, on to the next team, right? Once you do it.
That's it. And we got cut, okay, well, it's not meant for you then. Yeah. Well, what's meant for you will be meant for you, and you'll find it. So, but I share this story with the players that are playing for me now. Like they get cut or they get sent down from the higher levels. Their dreams are to play in the NHL. They're not dreams not to play in the ECHL. Or the AHL, not the ECHL. But they're here. So what do you do? How do you get them motivated to play? Well, I share my stories that I've been through. So that they understand that I'm human as well too, and I've been through it, and I understand, I get it. I sometimes also share other stories outside of hockey. It doesn't have to be a hockey. It could be other ways to connect. Right. So, and then when you connect with them that way, then it's like they understand you, they believe in you. And here we go.
That's correct. As a teddy, so here's this big tough guy now. He's got a teddy bear on his chest there from his.
That's it. You become a girl dad, I guess. So
there you go.
And it's funny because everyone asks me, you look at yourself and everything I did in the day, and now I have 3 daughters. So.
You have to protect them now.
Oh yeah,
totally.
Are you living in Cincinnati? You have time to go back to Toronto.
Okay. Down here with my wife and stuff. So
very good. Where is she from?
She's from Trenton.
Oh,
yeah, Trenton, Ontario. So
Trenton, Ontario.
Oh, I thought it was a Jersey girl.
Yeah. No, Trenton, Ontario. We met. Give me this one. Where is it? We met when I was playing in Kingston. I was working in Kingston. Okay. And it's funny. Our mutual friends of ours met. They took us to meet one night, and never thought this would where we would come to, right? And all of a sudden, here we are. We met in 2013, and here we are still together.
How old are you now?
I am 47. Going to be 48 Thursday.
Oh, Thursday. Happy birthday.
Yeah, good. And just to talk about the Cyclones, Jay had 2 really good years as head coach. Last year, he had 47 wins. But what's it look like for you this year? How's the team shaping up?
I don't know. I'm pretty excited. I mean, like, yes, you can be excited on paper. Last year, the first year I inherited the team I did, and it was crazy because I could only do what I. Hold on a second.
I got to tell everybody, I wish this show was a visual show too, so you can see his daughter. She's a cute.
Yeah, she's running over this tough guy for sure.
Exactly. She owns him. That's right.
That's what's wrong. She's a spitting image of me. That's what I can't even get my eyebrow. That's what's so slow.
This season coming up.
Yeah. So the first season I inherited the team that we had because I got the job because my good buddy Matt Thomas got promoted to the American League with Providence. So I inherited the team we had in like September, The following year, I put together a team I wanted, and I was happy with the run we had. This year, similar, we had a lot of good bodies, but we have a lot of good help from our affiliate as well too, the New York Rangers, Hartford Wolfpack. So the previous years we were with Buffalo Sabres and Rochester, and we've now since switched affiliates. So we're now with New York Rangers and the Hartford Wolfpack. So
now there's a smile on Tom's face right there.
Yeah, it's been a great working relationship so far. I'm excited about what's in store and with the players that we have returning. So I just looking to get better, and I always say this: it's always unfinished business, man. It's always unfinished business. You want to win that championship, let's start with the working details, the winning habits. Good habits are winning habits. So we want to focus.
Well, knowing you like I have for about the last 30 minutes, I think I know the answer to this question. But do you network to get to the National Hockey League, or how do you approach that?
You know what? You do a good job where you're at, that people notice, but you also got to be a good person. And when you're a good person, you network. People know who you are. You meet them. You establish relationships. And unfortunately, in every walk of life, I mean, it's not what you know. It's more who you know. Yeah. They want to know who you are. And if they get to know you, establish that rapport, that relationship with them, then it's a little easier that they think of you right away when those jobs come available. It's like you want to work with someone you feel comfortable with.
So when you're affiliated with a team like the Hartford Wolfpack and the Rangers, do you get to mingle with the Chris Drury, who's the general manager of the Rangers, or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when this affiliate happened, like every year before we were in Buffalo the whole time, and like Donnie Granato's the head coach of the Sabres. He used to be my old coach. So, Donnie and I always had a great relationship, and we were always in Buffalo during the rookie camp, something's main camp, and so on and so forth, and into Rochester's camp in the American League. And so when we switched into affiliates this year with New York, my owner, Ray Harris, and I flew out to New York, and they picked us up out and took us out to their practice facility. Oh. We met with them, Ryan Mark, the assistant GM, and eventually Chris Drury walked in. So it was seeing Chris, and I was like, just shaking each other's hands. And it was funny when he said it to me. It was like, I said, introduce myself. He goes, yeah, no, it's finally great to meet you. I've been following your career. You've been doing a great job.
Wow, that's good. Nice.
Wow. So for him to say that, it's good. It means that what you're doing, no matter what you're doing a good job, and you're being recognized. So just keep doing what you're doing, and when your time will come, it'll come.
Yeah, maybe we'll see you behind the bench at the Garden in a few years. Maybe a few years down the road.
That is the key, right? It's like sometimes you don't know what your reputation is until something like that happens, right? What Drury says. We went through it. James Patrick, who I played with, had been coaching up the Winnipeg Ice. They just sold that team and moved down to the States. And the new owner, yeah, that's right. And the new owner wants all U.S. people, so James wasn't brought down with the team. And the good thing that came from the whole thing was that a lot of the GMs in the league were calling him up, wanting to hire him right away, and saying things like he's the best coach in the league, all this kinds of stuff. And again, it's a bad story that he lost his job. But the good thing was, and the same thing with you, Drury, is that it's now kind of a reinforcement. Yes, I am doing the right thing here. I just got to keep doing what I'm doing, right? That's all. Good. You should write a book.
Everyone said that, man.
Yeah.
If I write a book, it'd be, I don't know, my life story would be something.
I think it'd be great. That's fantastic. You're very inspirational. So that's why I asked you about the motivational speaking. I just think your life story, the way you speak about your life, there's like, although some things happen to you along the way, like you bill it. It wasn't like you were bitter about it. It didn't seem. It's just, okay, that's happened. Now I need to move on. And it's the wrong thing for her to do. But
yeah, you learn. It's all learning experiences, right? So
definitely. Awesome. Well, listen, I'm really glad to have you on the show, you and your daughter.
Thank you.
Cutie back there. Seriously, because your story, I didn't know each other. We didn't know each other before we got on the show. It's just totally inspirational for me. And again, the big thing is it's just not quitting, right? And show other people that. I'm sure your daughters.
Yeah.
So we got this big tough guy here. I wish we had this on. So we'll probably do it. We'll use the clips.
We'll use the clips. Put her on. We'll say hello if you don't mind.
Okay. What's your daughter's name again?
Malia.
Because now she wants to be in, now she's shy.
All right. Punch your dad right in the nose.
Do the girls like hockey? Are they fans yet, or do they hate hockey?
Oh, they love it. They love going to the games.
You got a pretty straight nose for a guy that's fought as much as you had. I guess you're beating people up.
It's not really not straight. Right during this one.
What is it? Getting all curved to it?
A little bit.
Oh. Isn't that funny when you're playing? Like, breaking your nose was a cool thing when you were a kid.
It was.
Yeah.
Tom Secrets, he has a really big head, so he absorbed a lot of he ate a lot of lunch.
Well, Jason, he'll tell you, if you're going to be a fighter, you're going to lose fights. You're going to get punched. You're going to lose. Yeah. We'll be pretty good friends with Colton Orr and some of his fights that he had. Who was the guy? Was it Matt Carter?
Yeah, coaching in our league.
It's really, did he?
Yeah.
Those two guys, when they got in a fight, somebody was going down, right? It just, there's no halfway. They're getting knocked out.
They went as
cool. Well, listen, I mean it's very seriously. You should be very proud of yourself as a person, as a guy, as a coach. Now your life story for your daughters growing up to just be around you and the way you're doing things. So very glad you're on the show. Thank you very much for coming here.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks so much, man.
All right.
Thanks, Jay.
See you, Malia. Bye.
No, I thought we got off Pirates and accents.
I could work on my...
You do. You need some accents. That was a great interview with Jason Payne, head coach of the Cincinnati Cyclones. Tough guy in the minors.
I'm fired up now.
Yeah.
I'll do some push-ups. What his life story is. Everybody's got his story and follow him. I hope he gets to the National Hockey League someday. He seems like the kind of guy that will work hard enough to do what he has to do.
Looks like he's on that track. We learned that the Cyclones are now an affiliate of the Rangers. So they're the Rangers. I guess if Hartford's a AAA team, they're the AA team.
Yeah, I guess that. He's just his perseverance. When you guys hear this story,
he spoke your language. He plowed through and he didn't take no for an answer. And you love that he's in the gym all the time. You love that. You're like, yes, this is my guy.
I was getting fired up. He's talking. He's going on and on the story. I'm just grinning.
Yeah, that's great. What a great storyline. Yeah, you mentioned, Paul, you said you didn't really notice a lot of racism, but you're a white guy, so he obviously felt it growing up.
That's a great point, boy. You're right that I don't live in his shoes, right? I don't walk. He walks. The way you asked him about it, and the response, I think, would be very interesting.
Well, yeah, people just heard how he said, like, he quoted the one guy in juniors who called him the N-word, and he's like, I went off on him. I just got him and beat while his brother's up cheering the whole time.
I know. Yeah, who would do that during a game, right? Here's this guy that's getting started as a fighter, a young kid, and they call him that word. You think, why would you? First of all, why would you do it just morally? But then the guy's gonna beat the crap.
Well, our mutual friend from Toronto, Hockey XP owner Ian Peters said he's like, Jay's a bad dude. Like, he could throw. Like, and he was like, no, I like fighting. I dug it.
Yeah, I would ask them, right? Because we try to ask the fighters all the time. Because it's interesting. After the game, you ask the fighters, did you enjoy it? They go, no, I hated it. I didn't want to do it. But I had to do it to play. He goes,
no, it was fine with it. No problem.
Yeah. Funny stuff. He was good. He was fantastic. It was a great show.
And maybe we'll see him at MSU one day.
All right, laddies.
Still on that.
All right, Grasshoppers. Thank you for listening. We had a fantastic show. We'll see you next time.